Welcome to part 2 of our look at the Fallout 76 legendary perks. Just as in part 1, we do assume that you already know how to acquire the legendary perks, and this, rather than that, is going to be a look at what they are, what they're good for, and if there's some of them that you might want to use. First card we're going to take a look at is Follow Through. There's been some talk around the community about how some of the sneaky sniper type builds have gotten hurt a little bit by the new damage calculations. While this card is not going to help you with that first strike that usually used to kill the enemy straight off, it will help you in the continuation. What it does is that, just like Tenderizer, it applies a debuff to the target where the target will take additional damage for a set period of time. Maxing this card out does give 40% more damage on the target in 10 seconds, and that is pretty significant. It's pretty common to stay in sneak after the first shot. You are going to be able to fire a second follow-up shot with all the sneak benefits plus the 40% extra damage that the mob will take. If you're finding yourself with lower damage output as a whole as a sneaky sniper type player, this is definitely the card to take a look at. Funky Duds is your poison damage resist card in the legendary deck. It does require you to wear a matching set of armor, something that is not that difficult to achieve. The question you have to ask yourself is there any area in the game right now that really requires you to go heavy on the poison resist? The Vault 94 raids used to have a lot of sting wings in them, and poison resist would have been fantastic there. But the raids are gone, and I can't really see an area in the game right now that requires you to spend so many points into a poison resist card. If you are a player that struggles with poison, this could be a fantastic card for you, but looking at the points in general that it's going to cost to invest in this and what you can invest in other things, I would say that this is probably a pass for now. If you are a melee player that uses VATS a lot, the Hack and Slash card might be something you'd want to consider. This perk gives a melee VATS attack a chance to do area damage. Now, in the testing that we have done, we have seen at least 2 additional enemies getting struck by this. And as far as we can tell, things like vampires and similar items that proc on attack hit will proc on the area damage as well. The only thing that we haven't been able to confirm with 100% certainty is that exploding palm would proc on the extra attacks. There's simply so much damage going on when you get into a group and you have explosions and things going off that we haven't been able to track which numbers are coming from where. Although, if you find yourself using VATS a lot and coming up against large groups of enemies on a regular basis, you can't really go wrong with this card. Master Infiltrator. Together with the Ammo Factory, this is one of the most popular legendary perk cards in the game right now. Undoubtedly, the auto unlock of terminals and locks is something that is very enticing to a lot of players. But one thing that is often overlooked with this card is that no matter what level you take of the card, you automatically get +3 in lockpick and hacking skills. This means that even if you don't want to put all the points in to go to auto unlock of skill 3 terminals and locks, you can put this in at its basic level at, no cost. And with your 3 lockpick and 3 hacking skills, it just means you never have to go back to your regular perks again and shuffle cards around if you need to try to unlock something or hack into a terminal. It's definitely a quality of life card to consider. The Power Armor Reboot is the equivalent of the life-saving ability that you will find on some legendary armor pieces. It's simply a percentage chance to auto revive with full health if you are downed in power armor. I do question the bang for your buck value of this card though. Yeah, if you find yourself a lot of times downed in power armor without friends around to help you up, or if you simply can't be bothered to run back if you are downed and killed in power armor, then yeah, look at this card. For me though, it's a pass. Fallout 76 is a game of fast travel and short distances to move around. You rarely find yourself in a situation where you are forced to sprint for a long period of time to get somewhere. Now, if you do sprint a lot in your power armor, you might want to look into Power Sprinter, help you conserve some of those precious action points. Retribution procs when you successfully block a melee attack, and it will slowly restore both health points and action points over a 15-second period of time. Unfortunately, it doesn't stack, so the best thing you're ever going to get out of this card if it's maxed out is 4 hit points and 4 action points per second for 15 seconds, or a total of 60 and 60. That said, if you use block on a regular basis, I don't think you can go wrong with this card. It's going to be health and AP refresh that just continues ticking throughout your fights. Something to consider. Sizzling Style works exactly the same way as Funky Duds. You put on a matching set of armor and you get increased damage resistance against one type of damage. For this perk, it's fire damage. The problem I have with this card is that fire and explosion damage have long been intertwined, and most players that have had issues with it have mitigated this type of damage with your ordinary perk, Fireproof, as well as the dense mod for their armor. There is also really one area in the game where fire damage is really prevalent, and that is during the Earl fight. And to avoid that type of fire damage, just move out of the way. Spending the points on this card instead of doing the simple things like moving, it's just not going to be worth it. Pass. Now for the card that in my opinion is the big sleeper among the legendary perk cards, the Survival Shortcut. This perk generates a survival syringe at set time intervals, and when you look at it, it doesn't look like a lot, but let me tell you, once you dig into it, this thing has the opportunity to change how you play the game. When you pop this thing, it's going to restore some health, somewhere in the ballpark of 200 hit points. It's going to fully fill both your hunger and your thirst meters and cure any diseases that you have. Has effectively eliminated the need for me to carry food, water, disease cures. I've even used this for spot healing on just normal adventuring. And since I don't have to carry any of this kind of stuff around anymore, I've been able to get rid of some regular perks, just quality of life perks that I've used before. If your build is anything like mine, where you don't rely heavily on food buffs or on chems for that matter, this perk is highly recommended. Taking one for the team may be a little bit misleading with its name. The way that the card works is that if you're on a team, enemies who are attacking you will take additional damage. However, it doesn't have to be damage caused by your team members. This can be any other player that is attacking that mob, including you. Or on a team, but you're currently not out there playing with that team. You might be off on the map doing something else alone. This card will still help you. It will still proc when an enemy attacks you. The caveat, from what we've been able to tell during testing, is that they will only take additional damage when they attack you. So not when they're aggroed on you or turning towards you, but when they are actively attacking you. The case that we noticed this was, for example, ghouls. When they run towards you, they're aggroed on you and they're coming towards you, that does not mean they're going to take more damage. However, when they're doing their jump for the attack, or when they are swiping for you, trying to hit you, the additional damage is then in effect. Same thing happens for mobs that are shooting at you. While they are actively shooting at you, they will take more damage. When they stop to reload or to relocate or something, that damage will drop off again. Now, this of course means that you will see fluctuation in the amount of damage that the mob is taking. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, we don't stop firing or trying to strike the mob because the mob is fighting back. So having the card active should net you much more additional damage than not having the card at all. Obviously, if you're running it and somebody else on your team is running it, the odds are even greater that it procs. Now, they do not stack because they cut off the moment that the attack from the mob is over. It's cut off. There's no more damage taken. But if the mob then moves on to somebody else on your team that is also running the card, the damage is back on again. And I keep saying team, but the fact is that this is more of a debuff for the mob. So when the mob attacks you, the mob gets the debuff. So anyone attacking that mob in that moment will cause that mob to take more damage. On some of the bigger fights, obviously the Queen, Earl, things like that, it will likely be significant, the amount of extra damage it takes, because of the number of people simultaneously attacking it. Outlast among the specialized perks is what Rads. Now, this card does not only give you rad resistance, it also removes rads, and at a pretty good clip. Even at the lowest level of this card, you are going to remove 1 rad per second. And I would almost go so far as to say that the removal of rads is the big part of this perk card. Yes, the rad resistance is great because you're not going to get as many, but most players have already set things in place for them to prevent radiation. If you're a power armor user, obviously this is not really something that you've ever looked at. And the people that do not use power armor, well, they have plenty of ways to mitigate the rads. To remove the rads, you either have to take rad away, go back to find a shower of some sort, or use some of the basic perks that at least during daytime will remove rads. This card being a nice quality of life thing to throw in, even just at level 1, but probably not something a lot of people are going to crank all the way out to level 4. The last cards in the legendary deck are the special cards. These are the cards that give you the opportunity to raise a specific special skill up to 5 points. The important thing to remember is that while you can technically raise the special skill above 15, you can never get more than 15 perk points per special skill. If you are looking to increase your perk points in total, make sure to increase a special skill that is not going to go above 15 when you add the points from the legendary card. That is going to conclude this series on the Fallout 76 legendary cards and just our brief overlook on what they do and how they can best serve you in the game. Of course, the game is going to continue to evolve. Things may change in how these cards work. There are some cards where we still have questions if some of the functionalities are actually meant to be with the card, or if it's currently is a bug and it's going to go away. If you want to be kept in the loop on when things like that change, you can hit the subscribe button over here, or you can find us over on Twitch, where we stream Fallout 76 most nights of the week. thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we will see you on the next one. Oh, it's just a guy hanging out. That's not... This is more boring than I thought it would be.
Anchor. I can't.
Oh my god!
I was typing.